Good afternoon. You're watching Business World Live here on One News. I'm Jes Delos Santos. Let's take a look at how the local bourse closed today, Wednesday. All right, the benchmark maintains its hold on the 7,400 level for a second day, increasing a quarter of 8% to 7,419, extending gains for a third day. This as foreign investors continue to stock up on local stocks here or local shares for a second day with purchases, though quite low rather at 37 million pesos. Let's check in on a few stocks here, beginning with our telcos. They have been summoned by the National Privacy Commission for the proliferation of spammy text messages. The NPC wants Smart, Globe, and Dito to detail their current and future measures to combat smishing. NPC not discounting the possibility that a global syndicate could be the culprit for the proliferation of such text messages here. As you can see, this chart right here, you have PLDT on the upper chart. Ending the day in the positive territory here, up 1.5% to 1,750. Not the same scenario though for Globe and Dito. Globe is ending the day flat at 3,600. Dito, however, also ending the day in the positive territory here, as you can see with the red chart here, up by 1.2% to 6 pesos and 11 centavos a piece. Now let's check in on our leaders and laggards for the day here, with Alliance Global ending the day at the top spot, still here for a second day, up by 2.6%. Jollibee likewise increasing by 1.4%. This as it plans to ramp up the expansion of Team Ho Wan and China. Converge, on the other hand, is in the negative zone here, down 1.6%, even as it says that FTSE has raised the stock's investability weight. Now let's zero in on one of the gainers today. That's going to be SM Prime. This, as the mall operator, is set to open its new destination in NCR, SM City Grand Central. The new development in Caloocan City is set to open on Friday, November 26. SM Prime says more than 70% of the space has been leased out. It boasts of 116,000 square meters of a gross floor area with 6 levels of retail spaces. SMPH caps of the session in the green, up 1.8% to 37 pesos and 50 centavos a piece. The opening of the new SM Mall comes at a time when commercial establishments finally see activity picking up due to looser restrictions. To see how they're doing, we have on the program Stephen Tan, president of SM Supermalls. Good afternoon, sir, Stephen.
Good afternoon, Jess.
All right, so obviously restrictions have been eased, especially here in Metro Manila, but even in other provinces here. Can you give us a picture here? How's the foot traffic in your malls so far?
The foot traffic has greatly increased. No, week on week, it started, I think, last October, last month. But if you compare it week on week, it has been growing by at least double digit. No, some of them, as a matter of fact, some of the malls have already exceeded pre-pandemic levels, like SM Mall of Asia and SM South Mall. We have seen the highest footfall since the start of the pandemic. Even these two malls have exceeded, I think, 120% pre-pandemic levels.
Is this also the same scenario for most of your malls, even in provinces?
Yes, because in generally, I think the whole country or where SM is located have already eased restrictions. No, we are all most of our malls, if not all, are already at alert level 2.
But of course, there's been much concern, especially when it comes to allowing the entry of minors. How is SM Malls handling that?
Until now, we have not yet gotten any executive order from the LGUs barring minors to come into our malls. But however, we don't want to wait for that, as we have been advising or reminding the seniors, no, that they are together with the parents. When they visit our malls, they have to really strictly follow our safety protocols.
Mhm. Now, this time around, let's discuss a level of occupancy here, especially with your stores. How many stores remain closed? How many have decided to reopen their shops?
Okay, as a matter of fact, not almost all of our tenants are already open. No, even the entertainment, the entertainment tenants like Kids Play or Quantum or Time Zone, they have already opened. No, so we're looking around approximately between 85 to 90% of our tenants are already open. The occupancy actually during the pandemic has not really gone down. No, they have temporarily closed because of restrictions, but it has not gone down, maybe because also of the assistance that the malls have given our partners, our tenant partners.
Okay, now, of course, one of the major improvements here ever since restrictions were eased is that cinemas were allowed to reopen. How are your cinemas performing so far? Can you give us an idea as to the number of the movie going public at least heading to your theaters?
We have opened SM Aura last week. No, that was the first cinema that we opened last week. Today, we opened the big three, meaning SM Mall of Asia, SM Mega Mall, and SM City North EDSA. No? This is the first day that we are actually opening it to the public. No? And so far, the reservations have been very encouraging, I would say, because there's a lot of people who made reservations online.
Mhm. But are you expecting really to make money out of the reopening of cinemas, considering that occupancy really is somewhat still slashed compared to what you had pre-pandemic?
Okay, definitely it will not be the same as pre-pandemic level, but more than just earning money from it, or just it's really also entertaining the public and getting the public warm up for the Metro Manila Film Festival. No? So we have to definitely gradually open little by little, so that by the time that when we have when we have the Metro Manila Film Festival by end of December, it is somehow people are already used to going into the cinemas.
Are you hopeful that occupancy level will at least be revived to pre-pandemic levels anytime soon, especially as the holiday season nears?
Are we talking about the cinemas?
Yes.
Okay. We have pivoted also our business. No, a lot of our cinemas have been converted into private cinemas. What do I mean by that? We created smaller units of cinemas instead of one big cinema. Theater. We have cut it up into like maybe four of them, and then let same household or friends together that you feel that you are safe with, that they could block off the cinema for their own use.
Now, again, earlier on the program, we reported about the opening of SM City Grand Central. How many malls are in the pipeline? How many malls are set to open?
We are still very gung ho in our economy, in our country. We This is the last mall that we will be opening for the year this Friday. Tomorrow we will open IKEA to the public, which is so anticipated. So a lot of good things are happening this last quarter of the year, no. But even next year, the pipeline is to open five malls across the country, and we're still doing so.
hmm Now, what's how optimistic are you with IKEA here? I mean, what are your initial targets?
you know as of the moment, because they all need to pre-register. No, we don't accept walk-ins. No, so
Mhm.
you have to go online and pre-register. And so far, for the next 10 at least for the next 10 days, we are already fully booked. No, the number of, we also restricted people going in with just a few number. I mean, there's a number set, no,
Mhm.
per 30 minutes, no, so that you don't have overcrowding as well. No, but the response has been very great. We had the test run last November 20. We had a test run, and it is actually the biggest test run numbers that IKEA have seen globally.
Okay, do you have at least a target schedule as to when you would probably allow walk-ins in IKEA?
uh, most until now we do not have that date yet set, no, but
Mhm.
it's also because we are also abiding to the IATF rules
Mhm.
on a certain number of people allowed in an establishment.
All right, now, Sir Stephen, looking at your figures, at your book for the first 9 months of the year, revenue was down 14% to 15.8 billion pesos. So that's primarily due to tighter restrictions back in August. But how bullish are you that you'll get to address that or turn things around full year?
Okay, October and both October and November has been very, very encouraging. As a matter of fact, you compare to October and November to last year, we are up by more than 20% in terms of revenue and net income. So I think overall we will be able to recover what we have lost earlier for the first 9 months. No? It's also because this year we had several lockdowns or we had several quarantine restrictions that was imposed. No? First one was last March, earlier this year, and another one this August. No? But also, if you compare this year to last year, the first 2.5 months of the year last year, we did not yet close our malls. No, it was still, operating as normal. The lockdowns or the pandemic only started at March 16 last year. So therefore, there are 2.5 months that that's operating as a full. No, so but the this month, October, November, December looks very rosy for us.
But when do you see SM malls returning to pre-pandemic levels here when it comes to your revenue at least?
Most probably, it will gradually go up, no? But and I feel that the full recovery will be last quarter next year, 2022. That will be full recovery, and by 2023, we should expecting some growth.
All right. Thank you very much again for your time this afternoon. Stephen Tan, President of SM Supermalls. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jess.
Here are other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. SNR says contact details of their shoppers may have been compromised in a cyber attack. The membership shopping club admitted that limited membership data like contact information may have been obtained in the breach, but it stressed that members' credit card and other financial information are safe and secure as they are encrypted. SNR added that they are treating the attack very seriously and have already reported it to the National Privacy Commission. The NPC says they are now evaluating SNR's breach report and will require submissions of compliance documents. The country's balance of payments returned to a surplus in October. BOP Position registered a $1.14 billion surplus last month. That's a reversal from the deficit recorded in September. However, the latest figure was smaller than the $3.4 billion surplus recorded in October 2020. The Bangko Sentral said the surplus in October came from the national government's foreign currency deposits to the central bank and earnings of the central bank's investments abroad. In the 10 months to October, the BOP Position registered a surplus of $476 million. And some 700,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines donated by Australia arrived in the Philippines earlier today. The government said majority of these shots will be used during the massive national vaccination drive that's from November 29 to December 1st. The palace has already declared these dates as Bayanihan Bakunahan National COVID-19 Vaccination Days. Under the proclamation, employees from both the government and private sector who will be vaccinated during these days shall not be considered absent from work. Meanwhile, the Philippine Star reports that 26 business groups are urging the government to allow the private sector to use their large stockpile of vaccines as boosters for employees. The firm said this move will prevent vaccine wastage as well as resurgence in infections, especially in the workplace. And those are the biggest stories this trading day, November 24, 2021. Catch Business World Live again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for the market open and 3:15 p.m. for the market close. I'm Jes Delos Santos and Year One News. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines.